Welcome into the show, everybody. Happy Football Friday. Nice to have you along for the ride. My name is Mark Farzyshow. This is the farzyshow, and it is just lovely to be talking football with you after we watch football. Andy Reid didn't punt with all of his timeouts. He didn't punt, and the Kansas City Chiefs lost last night 21-20 to the Detroit Lions. Let that sink in for a second. Now, I know they didn't have Travis Kelce. I know they didn't have Chris Jones there at the line of scrimmage, pushing on defense, doing his defensive tackle thing that he likes to do so much, to the tune of 15.5 sacks last year, third highest total in the league. But you should still win that game, especially at home, and they just couldn't do it. They just couldn't do it. It's not an Andy Reid thing for me anymore. People are gonna laugh at Andy Reid today, and people are gonna say, "Why did he punt and all that stuff?" And he had timeouts on. And I'm like, yeah, Andy's won 2 Super Bowls, and he has gone on to win 2 Super Bowls. Hey, look, he could have had more if he would have listened to their fan base in Philadelphia. And no, I'm not saying that tongue-in-cheek. If he would have listened early in his career and got number 1 wide receiver for Donovan McNabb, one that maybe he meshed a little bit better with it, maybe we'll be talking about winning a Super Bowl. But that's just the Eagles just decided not to do that. But anyway, Andy Reid, and if he was better at time management, which is a legitimate thing. But he was 14 years here in Philadelphia, so people like to say that we ran him out of town, which I think is dumb. And 14 years... If you're 14 years in Philadelphia, how do we run you out of town? That's not even a light jog out of town. That's not even a walk you out of town. That's a Sunday stroll possibly out of town. But anyway, I digress. People are going to look at Andy Reid last night. They're going to laugh. And they're going to say he should have punted. And he should have. But he's got 2 Super Bowls. And do you know that Andy Reid is about to move into sole possession of 4th place on the all-time coaching wins list? Do you realize that? Do you realize that? That's insane. Andy Reid is going to be a top 4 coach of all. He's already top 5. He's going to be a top 4 coach of all time when it comes to winning. Oh, and he's got 2 Super Bowls. And he's been to 4. So that's pretty good, including the one who was with the Eagles, which ironically was against the New England Patriots. How about this? I was just looking at this game, and I was just thinking about where the Eagles have come and where the Patriots have come since their meeting in the Super Bowl, which this will be the 7th season removed from it. And you go back in that time machine for just a second. I like to appreciate where we've been. I like to talk about where we've been to further appreciate where we are. And the Eagles, of course, have made it back to another Super Bowl. The Patriots have won another Super Bowl since then. The Patriots have moved on from their franchise quarterback, Tom Brady, or he moved on from them, depending on how you really want to slice it. And the Eagles have moved on from what turned out to be fraudulent franchise quarterback era with Carson Wentz. And I understand Carson Wentz didn't play in that Super Bowl, but that was still the Carson Wentz era. That was still, oh wow. Nick Foles played great in this game. It would be hard to find a quarterback that played better than Nick Foles in that game and win like Nick Foles won in that game. But it was still the Carson Wentz era. And now you have turned the page, not only here in Philadelphia, when it's come to the franchise quarterback, quote unquote, you've turned the page, as we covered so well last year, with your head coach. Different head coach, different quarterback, and now different franchise era of quarterback when you talk about Jalen Hurts. It is incredible to look back. Like, you can look at the Patriots and say, all right, well, they brought in Mac Jones. This is year 3 of Mac Jones. They have yet to win an opener with Mac Jones as their quarterback. But it's still very much the Mac Jones era there in New England, undisputed at this point. But here in Philadelphia, that wasn't the case last year. It was disputed. It was whether or not Jalen Hurts was the guy. And now we know that Jalen Hurts has answered that question with that big old exclamation point. Yes, he is the guy here in Philadelphia. Now we are in the Jalen Hurts era, with all of us having a lot more confidence than we did in the Carson Wentz era, even after he finished second in the MVP voting. The difference is Jalen Hurts finished second in the MVP and went on to play in the Super Bowl, as opposed to miss that. Now, it wasn't Carson's fault, obviously, he had the injury, but bottom line is we saw the guy that is supposed to be the guy going forward playing the Super Bowl. Now he is taking on a team in the New England Patriots that is, with the exception of last year, everyone, you're going to listen to everyone say, of course, they're a well-coached team. They're a well-coached team. It's Bill Belichick. They're always a well-coached team. Last year, they were not a well-coached team. Was it really a well-coached team last year? Like, think about this for a second. They really didn't have an offensive coordinator. Does that sound like a good idea? Does that sound like, when you have a young quarterback in particular that needs some coaching, did that sound like a good idea to not have an offense coordinator last year? Does that sound like good coaching? Because it's not. Now, we're going to get into 5 things I'm going to be looking at in this game when it comes to the Eagles and the Patriots matchup this time around. And a lot of it does have to do with coaching this time around. And then there's a couple other things about the guys that are actually playing on the field, but we'll get to that. But just to continue the conversation about where we've been and where we are now, I have this immense sense of confidence going into this season, and it is more than what I have seen from Carson Wentz. And here's the number one reason that we haven't talked about in terms of where we were in 2017, 2018, and where we are in 2023. I've seen my quarterback play in the playoffs. And although, again, it wasn't Carson's fault that he blew out his ACL, okay? So I'm not even looking at that. I'm just looking at what we have seen. Carson Wentz never won a playoff game in Philadelphia. Never won a playoff game for the Philadelphia Eagles. Jalen Hurts, through first 1 year as a starter, made it to the playoffs. Lost, but made it to the playoffs. Carson Wentz, took a minute for that to happen. All right? Just to even get to a playoff game and start it. No, he couldn't even finish it because he couldn't stay healthy. He's knocked out of the game. Thank you, Davion Clowney. Sarcastically, thank you. Not thank you, but, you know. Now, a guy like Jalen Hurts, we've already seen play in the playoffs and lose. Then we saw him win 2 playoff games last year. Then we saw him go in the Super Bowl and have his team 10 points up at halftime. And yes, did fumble the football. But other than that, played a phenomenal game, an unbelievable game, a historic game. So we have seen him rise to the occasion in the biggest moments. We don't have to ask that question either. We don't have to ask the question about like what they're asking in San Diego right now about Justin Herbert. Oh, you know, we know we have a really good quarterback, but can he be the guy to win the big game? Jalen Hurts has won big games. Jalen Hurts has won big games. We already have that box checked. And the idea that when you think about the overall success of the team under Jalen Hurts as their starting quarterback, the idea of just that, it exceeds the fact that he was second in the MVP voting last year. So I'm going into this season with this immense level of confidence because we have already seen Jalen Hurts not already verbally answer questions about what he's done. We have seen him answer questions about what he could do. And if that is not the biggest, fattest exclamation point on yes as to whether or not he's the guy, I don't know what is. The Eagles giving him what was now 3 contracts ago, thanks to Joe Burrow signing the ginormous Kajunga deal last night. Is Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Jalen Hurts was at the time for 20 minutes was the highest paid quarterback ever. So that's pretty damn good. And now Joe Burrow has that title. It's just money slinging out there. Now Chris Jones of the Chiefs and defense tackle is going, when am I going to get my money? Anyway, but looking at this season going into it, I am over the moon excited. To tie things into the Andy Reid era, I'm looking at last night, and I'm looking and watching Andy Reid and all that, and I'm thinking the last time I was this confident in sustained success in Philadelphia was when Donovan was here. And obviously, Donovan never won the big game, won a ton of playoff games, as we all know, and whatever. Andy Reid, the same thing. We really wondered whether that he had what it took to win the big game in Philadelphia. But I have this confidence in Nick Sirianni, in Jalen Hurts, and Howie Roseman that this team is going to take care of business. This isn't going to be a 2005 type season where, oh, man, you can't do anything right, and you were riddled with injuries, and there were off-the-field drama with T.O. being told to shut up, and Donovan had a sports hernia. And it does not have that feel at all. It doesn't have it at all. Now, going into the 2005 season, which is really the only thing we can compare this to. Going into the 2005 season, I and a lot of us, not just me, but a lot of us, had this little fear of this is going to blow up. It's like, oh, you traded CEO. It's going to be great. And then it was kind of like a very similar to, but not exactly like, but similar to a James Harden situation where you're excited to get a talented player like that. But you're like, give me a lot of baggage. And then sure enough, baggage. Just unloading it off the Eagles plane at Philly International. Big bag by big bag. And that turned out to be a very big worry going into the 2005 season with T.O. I don't have any bad vibes about this team. There's huge red flags going into the 05 season. T.O. being upset, Donovan and T.O. not being on the same page, and all that. There's a lot of red flags going into that. And then Ike Reese just had to start that fight at the 50-yard line in Atlanta following that 2005 season. I don't have any worry about that. This team, their leadership, for whatever reason, has meshed 1,000 times better than that leadership that we saw in 2005. This Jason Kelsey, Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham, Lane Johnson type of leadership, and of course Jalen Hurts type leadership. And in terms of guys that were there before and now we're in this situation where they have won and lost, this is something special. And to get into my list here of 5 things that I'm looking at in this game that could negatively affect the Eagles, the number 5, the first thing. When it comes to the Eagles and this idea of a Super Bowl hangover, I know other teams have gone through this. I know the Eagles went through it in 2005. I do not look at this Eagles team and think of them at all unstable. And really, I think that's what it comes down to. You want to have sustained success? Well, then you need to be stable. You need to have a good foundation. You need to have a coach that listens to his players. You certainly have that. You need to have players that are talented. Oh, you certainly have that. And you need to have one hell of a leadership core 4, if you will, that knows how to lead these players. You throw in a guy that they all follow anyway in Jalen Hurts, and that is something special. I think the consistency to this team of sustained success, the secret to their sustained success are the voices they have in that locker room. Obviously, talent wins, working hard wins. They certainly do both those things. Their quarterback certainly does those things. But what is the most important thing, the thing that really makes me believe in this Philadelphia Eagles team is the leadership. And you might say that's High School Harry. You might say that's Disney movie. But listen to these guys. I mean, you mean it, like this isn't just typical like, oh yeah, we work hard and we practice hard and we go out there, we're going to play hard on Sunday. It goes far beyond that. It goes to the connections with this team. When you hear the veterans talk about rookies on this team, like Jalen Carter or Nakobe Dean or second-year player Nakobe Dean, or you listen to talk about Nolan Smith, it is something to behold. When you hear the confidence they have in these young guys, when they go beyond just oh yeah, he's really good. When they go beyond that, start going really in depth about how these guys are going to be problems, that shows you that the leadership translates to the younger player. The fact that these guys are paying that close attention to what these guys are doing, the veterans versus the rookies, is a beautiful thing. The young guys, it's a beautiful thing. To know that these guys have been through rough seasons, have been through the transition, have been through the rocky parts with Carson Wentz, that they know what it's like to lose, and it only makes them more hungry to use that, more hungry to have that success. So it's another reason I don't believe in that Super Bowl hangover as it pertains to the 2023 Philadelphia Eagles. But I know a lot of people, they're concerned about coming out of the gates sluggish, coming out of the gates slow. For me, I just want to put it on the list at number 5 because I don't give a damn about it, but I know other people are talking about it. Number 4 is another hokey thing that other people are talking about that I'm not, and my friend Jody McDonald, who will be on again with today for Birds 365. I just don't get it, but he brings it up a lot. Tom Brady Day. I don't care that it's Tom Brady Day. I think it's stupid. You mean to tell me that the Gillette Stadium on opening day isn't usually a ruckus crowd? You mean to tell me they're not, as Tom Brady once said, all lubed up and coming out ready to go? You mean to tell me that they need Tom Brady to be honored in the first game of the season to go to like the next level of cheering and ruckusness and debauchery and craziness? You mean to tell me that? No. And I still like my idea, go figure, of Brandon Graham coming out and like whatever plaque or trophy or whatever they give or golf bag they give to Tom Brady. I want Brandon Graham to come out and smack it out of his hands. And then maybe Derek Barnett falls on it. And then we don't see Derek Barnett again the rest of the game. Anyway, I don't buy into the Tom Brady Day BS. Okay, so I just want to take away 2 things that people are throwing against the wall to see if it sticks going into this game against the Patriots that I don't I just don't subscribe to. It's not for me. And I like what our friend Bill Colarulo had to say to us earlier in the week from Legal Hands to the Face podcast. Will be part of the Jacob Media game day coverage for Motion Casino. I do want to make sure I mention this as well. I love what Bill Colarulo had to say. Everyone wants to talk about what Tom Brady could do as a positive impact for the Patriots. What about the negative impact of the Patriots? What about a guy like Mac Jones that's like, hey guys, remember me? I'm still trying to win over here. And he's still looking. Maybe it impacts him in a positively negative way. Maybe he's like, yeah, I'm gonna go out there and play great because Tom's here. That's not my Mac Jones impression, but anyway, I'm gonna play great because Tom's here. And then he goes out and he throws the 2 picks because he's overdoing it. And maybe that's what it does. I'll put it to you like this: I think the odds are a lot better that Tom Brady's presence at Gillette Stadium favors the Eagles than it does hurt the Eagles. I think it positively impacts the Eagles more so than it negatively impacts the Eagles. And why is that? Well, because guess what? It's opening day. People are going to be excited. People are going to be raucous. People are going to be great. If anything, here's the deal: you're going to be all pumped up and jazzed up honoring Tom Brady. You might lose focus on what really matters, which is winning the game. That's what matters there. Anyway. So 5 and 4 are some theories that people have thrown against the wall that I just want to say, forget about. Number 3. Okay, let's get to actually what I feel matters, and that's what's on the field. Hunter Henry, Mike Gesicki. The first thing I look at in this game, I look at the weak point of the Eagles, and I look at a strong point of the Patriots there. Okay. If you're Bill O'Brien, who we'll get to, if you're Bill Belichick, okay, who obviously demands all the respect in the world, if you're either of these guys, okay, you deserve some respect here. But if you're those guys and you're game planning for the Eagles, where are the weak points? What have we been talking about? We've been talking about linebacker. We've been talking about safety. That's what we've been talking about going to this game. Really, for the season, we've been talking about that. The entire offseason, we've been talking about that. So if you're coaching the Patriots this year and you look at the Eagles and you say, right there's the weak point. You know where that is? That's going to be at the outside linebacker position. That's going to be with Zach Cunningham. That's going to be with Christian Ellis if he does even start this game. I still think it's Nakobe Dean. I think it's Zach Cunningham. But that's how I think it plays out. But if you're the Patriots, you're going right after that. You're testing whoever the will linebacker is. You're going to say Sam Lockett. You're going to go out there and you're going to see what they can do. And you're going to test them as early and often as possible by having a guy like Hunter Henry. Now they've added Mike Gesicki, who was a good tight end in Miami. You're going to have these guys out there as your tight ends, and you're going to be testing the linebackers as soon and as often as humanly possible in this game. You're going to be going with that test. So the first thing I look at is number 1, Hunter Henry, number 2, Mike Gesicki, and then I look at the linebacker position of the Philadelphia Eagles, most notably Christian Ellis, most notably above that, Zach Cunningham. So that's what I'm going to be looking at for the first matchup on the field that could give the Eagles some problems. Number 2, after that, I'm staying with the linebacker position. Right after that, I'm going with Nakobe Dean against Stevenson. That's what I'm looking at. Ramondre Stevenson has the ability to run between the tackles, has the ability to bounce outside. But if you're the Patriots and you're looking at the Eagles, you're going to go from the outside linebacker position to the inside linebacker position. You know that guy only has 34 snaps to his name. So I think this is going to be a very basic game for the New England Patriots offense. You're going to see a lot of running early in the game, and that run is going to do what is the most basic sentence you could even utter in football. The run is going to set up the pass, which hurts you 2 ways if they run it successfully. Number 1, Nakobe Dean's instinct is going to have to be so sharp in this game because you're going to have to recognize, despite having only 34 snaps to your name at the NFL level, you have to recognize that play action when they do run it with Mac Jones and Ramondre Stevenson. Excuse me. You're going to have to recognize that from jump because they're going to make you bite on it later. They're going to set up that pass beautifully. And here's the second part of where that hurts you. If you do have some young safeties out there, regardless if it's Sidney Brown out there with Reed Blankenship, regardless if it's Terrell Edmonds out there, regardless if it's Justin Evans, whoever is out there, they haven't played together a lot. They haven't played together at all. in a regular season game. They haven't played together at all in the preseason. Reed Blankenship was just locked into his roster spot already. Didn't even play. So communication could be a bit of an issue. I know you've practiced. I know you've been in the meeting rooms, but communication can still be a big issue if you've never played together. So let me get this straight. The simplest, anyone who has played Madden, you don't have to be an NFL head coach to figure this out, or an NFL play caller. Two things can go horribly wrong here. Your linebacker can bite on the play action, and then you could get beat over the top with safeties that might be looking into the backfield and caught looking, gotcha, and then you have a deep ball down the field. We have inexperience. The Eagles have inexperience at these positions, whether it's inexperience with playing at all with Nakobe Dean's 34 snaps, or it's your safety positions that have barely played together. The saving grace, or haven't played together at all, ever. Not even the preseason, because, again, Reed Blankenship. But the saving grace, I think, to put a positive on this, and why I think the Eagles are going to have success, is that I do think Nakobe Dean is going to be up to that challenge. And I think your defensive front four is going to say, oh, you wanna run a play action? You want to have Mac Jones turn his back to us? Don't you dare turn your back on us! Fletcher Cox, Jalen Carter, guys coming off the edge. That's where I think the Eagles are going to win this game. And that's where I think they're going to win a lot of games, by being able to get that big defensive stop that they got through the vast majority of last year. They got through all of 2017 and into the Super Bowl, obviously with the strip sack. But unfortunately, last year the Super Bowl was just elusive, unfortunately. But that's one thing I'm going to be looking at, like a hawk going into this game. Comes down to linebacker play, whether that is against the tight ends or whether that's against their running back. That is the two things that jump out to me immediately about this game, is how your linebackers are going to play. Number one on this list. So we got Tom Brady. Tom Brady Day doesn't matter. Super Bowl hangover doesn't matter. I got Christian Ellis or Zach Cunningham against Hunter Henry. I got Nakobe Dean versus Ramondre Stevenson. And then this is the number one. This is number one thing. Mac Jones took a huge step back last year. They made the playoffs his rookie year. They were 10-7 that season. And then last year in games he started and finished, they were 6-7 in games that he started and finished. The offense took a hit offensively last year by scoring 17 fewer offensive touchdowns than they did during Mac Jones' rookie year. 17 fewer offensive touchdowns from year one of Mac Jones to year two. Gee, how would that happen? Maybe the biggest, most glaring mistake of Bill Belichick's career. I don't really need an offensive coordinator. I got guys that could be offensive coordinators. We don't really need to name anybody. We'll just have the defensive guy do it. And the other guy that was a special teamer, and then he was a head coach, and then he came back, and he was actually Mark Farzyshow, summer league basketball teammate that played for Arlington Mount Carmel, CYO. But that is going to be Bill Belichick. That was Bill Belichick last year. This is Bill Belichick this year. He is Bill O'Brien. I don't pretend to be that Bill O'Brien is some offensive whiz, but even the biggest hater of Bill O'Brien, even the biggest hater of Bill O'Brien has to acknowledge that the guy's got experience and the guy's pretty good. Here's you know what he is? He is an offensive coordinator. You have to admit the bare minimum. He's not Matt Patricia trying to call plays or design plays or be an offensive coordinator. He's not Joe Judge. Love you, Joe, but sorry. He's not Joe Judge, the offensive coordinator. He is Bill O'Brien, plenty of experience, coached with Belichick and Brady for 5 seasons before he became the head coach at Penn State. Then he was in Houston for 6+ seasons. Then he was with Alabama as an offensive coordinator for the last 2 seasons. And now he's back in the NFL, and he's got a young guy named Mac Jones to coach up. Now, I'm not giving Bill O'Brien like immense credit for what Tom Brady was, in his career, especially in New England. But he's been there. The guy can flat out coach. The guy can call plays. And look, Josh McDaniels didn't have a lot of success, hasn't had a lot of success in his coaching career outside of New England, but Bill Belichick has at least proven he gets a competent guy there calling plays and running the offense, and the offense is going to have success. The fact that they dropped a touchdown per game, because they didn't have coaches that could figure it out. And now Bill O'Brien has taken over the helm. You'd be ridiculously in denial if you looked at this Patriots offense and said, "Oh, well, they weren't that good. Look, Mac Jones sucks. He was terrible last year. He didn't have any coaching last year." And for all the people that want to just rave about Bill Belichick, you're a freaking Bill Belichick coach team. It's gonna be a well-coached team. Not last year. Not last year. That was not good. So, number one on my list. I've said all offseason, my biggest concern going into the year are the new the new coordinators. Brian Johnson, it's a question, but I don't think it's huge. I think it's going to come down to the fact that you have an MVP caliber quarterback, 2 Pro Bowl caliber wide receivers. You have, I believe, a Pro Bowl caliber tight end. You have a backfield full of running backs that can just run. And it comes to Kenny Gainwell. It comes to Rashad Penny if he stays healthy. And it obviously comes to DeAndre Swift. Oh, and they can catch the ball out of the backfield in the off chance that the Eagles go out there and they actually, throw to a running back, which they do less than any other team in the NFL. So the number one thing I'm going to put up here, because I do believe that the Patriots can go out there and with a good game plan and a good play caller and a guy with experience can go out there and make Mac Jones look like a much better player. I'm going to go ahead with Sean Desai versus Bill O'Brien. That's the number one thing I'm going to be watching for in this, because Sean Desai is going to be put up to a test. It's a good young quarterback. It's a good running back. It's a good tight end. You got guys that can hurt you that are good mismatches for this Philadelphia Eagles team. Your corners, I think, are going to win their battles. I'm not concerned about that. I have concern about what's going to go on the interior there with your linebackers and what's going to go on deep with your safety. Not necessarily Reed Blankenship, but yes, the communication between Reed Blankenship and whoever's next to him. But Sean Desai has to have the guys ready for this. He is still a young quarterback in Mac Jones. You can still force him into mistakes. Sometimes you don't need to, but you can't let him get comfortable either, because I think he'll be comfortable enough in the Bill O'Brien offensive scheme that will coach to his strengths. I think he will be kept off balance, and I want him to be kept off balance in this, but if you just let him sit back there and do his thing, he's going to build confidence through the entire game, and he's accurate enough a quarterback. He's good enough a quarterback where he won't make that mistake. You can't let him get into that groove. So I know when you're racking your brain, you're looking at the idea that Mac Jones is 0-2 when he started out. Well, one year he didn't even have an offensive coordinator, and that was the first year. Second year. The first year he went out there, and he was just a very inexperienced quarterback. You're not supposed to win that game. So those are what I'm looking. Those are the matchups that I'm looking at with this Philadelphia Eagles team that have me somewhat concerned going into it. Like, if they lose this game, it's going to be because the Patriots were able to do this to them. Everything else, in all honesty, I don't have concern about. Like, this offensive line against a defensive line that can certainly get after it. I'm not concerned there. I feel like this offensive line is going to have answers. I've seen a lot of people rave about what the Lions offensive line did last night, and saw Big V out there moving bodies. Nice to see that. Good for him. But people are talking about that Lions offensive line as if it is the bee's knees. I would like to see the Eagles go out there at 4:25 on Sunday against a pretty potent pass rush and a pretty potent defense when the Patriots put out there and hold their own. Not just hold their own, but show how dominant they could really be. That's what I want to see. And I think that works out to the Eagles' favor. So I have confidence, go figure, in this Eagles offensive line handling their business and making sure that Jalen Hurts is staying protected. And in an event that Bill Belichick goes out there and he devises a scheme that stops Jalen Hurts or gets at Jalen Hurts has the ability to get off that spot, as we all know, and make the defense really have to cover. When you have a guy like Jalen Hurts, and this is a lot of other things, other than a well-coached team with Bill Belichick, the next thing people are going to shift to in the Bill Belichick lore is that he's a great defensive mind. And he is, absolutely. You can only plan so much. And Jalen Hurts reminds me of the old Mike Tyson line, everybody's got a plan till they get punched in the mouth. And Bill Belichick or any defensive coordinator throughout the season can watch tape on Jalen Hurts last year and say, this is what he does well, this is what he doesn't do so well, this is what he's good at, this is what he's bad at, let's make him do what he's bad at. They can plan all they want. And then they get into the backfield, and Jalen Hurts goes, boom, punches him in the mouth. And he says, that plan was adorable. Now watch me do my thing. Then he makes a play happen. He scrambles for 7 yards. He lives to fight another play, throws the ball away, finds a receiver that a cornerback can't cover or a linebacker can't cover for 5 seconds, 6 seconds, 7 seconds, scrambling around, making a play happen that way. Oh, yeah. You took away all my reads and all my options, but I'm going to go first down. That's what's so exciting about Jalen Hurts and his ability. That's why when people talk about his running ability, I'm happy with his running ability. I love his running ability. I told you yesterday the specific thing that I'd like to see less of from Jalen Hurts when it comes to the running ability, and that's just on a first and goal from the half-yard line. Maybe not have your quarterback do that first tush push. Maybe hand the ball to a running back and he tries it, and then you can maybe try to get it. One less hit Jalen Hurts has to take. One less opportunity for somebody coming over the top and hit him and hurt him, and no thanks. That's one thing. But everything else, keep it coming, man. When you drop back and your first read's not there, your second read's not there, and you see a lane, take the yards. Make sure you slide. Make sure you get out of bounds. Whatever you got to do that. Just don't take the big hit. I don't have a problem with him running as long as he continues to play smart, which he has done through the majority of his career. But when Bill Belichick devises that perfect plan, whatever it might be, sending somebody, trying to confuse him, first off, Jalen Hurts taking another step forward in understanding what's going on in front of him, I think the guy has the answer. Whether that's a physical trait of being able to elude it, or that's a mental thing of recognizing it, seeing it, and changing the play, which he did a lot last year. People don't give him enough credit for that. His comfort zone, as I've talked about before, was that bubble screen. There's no better example of that than the Arizona game last year, where even Shane Steichen talked about it in the weeks following when he was asked about Jalen Hurts and bubble screen, the amount of bubble screens. A lot of those are checkdowns. A lot of those are switching the play. A lot of those are called at the line. Jalen sees something he doesn't like, he'll move to that play. So it became, especially that game against the Arizona Cardinals, that became a big security blanket for Jalen Hurts. I like to see how creative a guy like Brian Johnson is going to be. The reason I don't have him on my list is a thing that I'm really watching for here is because although it's a question we really don't know, this offense is in great hands. With Nick Sirianni game planning during the week, Brian Johnson, he really has to be way out of his element to be a bad play caller with this offense. That's going to be a really hard thing to do. Brian Johnson might have the best jobs in Philadelphia, the best jobs in Philadelphia sports. Let's think about this for a second, all right? I was thinking about this yesterday. The best jobs in Philadelphia sports. One, Garrett Stubbs, all right? Garrett Stubbs probably got the best job in Philadelphia sports. You just got to sit behind JT Realmuto, who never takes time off anyway. And there's your job. There's a good job, buddy. Every once in a while, I lay down a drag butt, and everybody loves him. There you go. After that, you got to call plays for Jalen Hurts. You got to call plays for Jalen Hurts and this offensive roster who have already went through. That is incredible. Garrett Stubbs and Brian Johnson have the best jobs in Philadelphia sports. Those are the best jobs. Good for you guys. Let's get more of that. I don't know. You could call a fake punt with Jalen Hurts in the formation and it would work. That's how talented I think he is as a quarterback. You look at this squad, and I just think the mental aspect of it, they're ready to go. I think coaching aspect of it, they're ready to go. But the biggest question I do feel going into this game, it has to do with Sean Desai versus Bill O'Brien. And yes, generally speaking, 99 times out of 100, very well coached Bill Belichick team. It's going to be difficult. It's not going to be easy. Belichick versus Brian Johnson is the bigger concern. Not Brian Johnson overall for 17 games. So if you're looking at this one particular game, obviously, you have to be somewhat concerned about Brian Johnson's adaptability, which was a word that was uttered by Nick Sirianni earlier in the week. It was a word that was uttered yesterday when Brian Johnson was addressing the media. He talked about all the confidence in the world, but as you do have that punch in the mouth moment, which goes two ways, obviously. Everyone's got to play until they got punched in the mouth. Well, Bill Belichick has made a career out of punching people in the mouth. So what is he going to do to this offense that is going to throw a curveball at Brian Johnson in this offense? And how will Brian Johnson use that adaptability in order to make an adjustment and help this team continue to win football games? Bottom line is, I don't know how the Patriots stop this team. You can talk about great defense, you can talk about well-coached defenses, and all that stuff, you're blue in the face. Damn, they're talented. And they can beat you in so many different ways. The ways that they want to beat you is they want to run the football and they want to throw. They want to be able to throw the ball downfield, which is a great strength of Jalen Hurts now. And they can beat you with any of their wide receivers. They're starting two wide receivers in Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. And then, look, Quez Watkins wants to make a statement. Go make a play downfield there, fella. Go make a play downfield, Quez Watkins. And then you want to be able to win a game by having a screen to DeAndre Swift. You want to try to actually throw to your running backs a little bit. You want to have them run between the tackles. Rashad Penny hopefully breaking through the line of scrimmage. Kenny Gainwell doing something similar on the outside. I want to see it all. But the bottom line is you have so many different ways, talented ways to be able to beat any opponent, whether it's Bill Belichick or not. I think when it comes down to talent, when it comes down to focus, I just think this team has it. And looking at this season, I got great things in my head for this Philadelphia Eagles year. And I have them at least going back to another Super Bowl. I think this Philadelphia Eagles team has a chance to get to a 13-win mark. I think they'll at least get to the 12-win mark. I'm feeling very strong about how this Eagles team will operate in the 2023 season. We could talk about the roster being so talented, but really you got to talk about something that I think a lot of people overlook, and it is the leadership. It is the stuff that you dismiss as the high school Harry, whatever. But I just have so much confidence in the leadership of this team that they're not just leaders that just talk. They go out there and they do it. And if I have to talk about the most excited things I'm really looking forward to about Sunday at 4:25 against the Patriots, the number one thing I'm excited for is Jalen Carter. It is listening, as I've talked about a couple of times, listening to the veterans talk about Jalen Carter, listening to people around the league continue to utter the phrase, how did the league allow the Eagles and Howie Roseman to get Jalen Carter in this draft? How did they allow him to get Nolan Smith in this draft? How did they allow him to get both these guys? Oh, that gets my blood going in a very good way. I can't wait to see how it's all used. I can't wait to see how it's all utilized by the Philadelphia Eagles in this game, and I can't wait to see how Jalen Carter does trying to break through the line of scrimmage. Other than that, yeah, I'm excited to see Nolan Smith. I'm excited to see Hassan Reddick again. I want to see what Jordan Davis does in the upcoming season here. But I am of the concerns. I look at the linebacker position. I look at the safety position. How ready are they going to be for the test that's going to be in front of them today? Or Sunday, excuse me, against the Patriots. All in all, my final score for Sunday, 4:25 at New England. After we're all done with the Tom Brady, Tom pom-poms, Philadelphia Eagles will defeat the New England Patriots by a score of 27-21. That's how I see it shaking out, with the Eagles, by the way, being the -4 road favorites. Holy Stromboli. 27-21. That's how I think this shakes out for the Eagles, getting a victory in New England. Before I get to the chat check, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you about a new friend of the Farzy Show. How about our friends at MyBookie? As a bettor, you know what? You demand perfection, and MyBookie delivers. NFL, college football, brand new cash out system give you options to bet and to win all season long. First two legs, you hit your parlay, cash out early and place another bet, or let it ride for a chance for the bigger payday. Join MyBookie family. Join the MyBookie family, as I have, for an entire season filled with daily odds boosts, same day parlay, same game parlay, and super contests. You don't miss out on this with MyBookie. This season, MyBookie has no strings attached. Cash bonus lets you deposit and withdraw quick You know what you got to do, though? Use promo code FARZY, of course, on a deposit of $50 or more, and you can receive up to $200 in cash instantly to your MyBookie account. That's promo code FARZY. Bet your deposit amount once, and you're ready to withdraw anytime. Again, that's promo code FARZY to claim your cash deposit bonus of $200. You can bet anything, anytime, anywhere, only with MyBookie. So make sure you find people. Check out MyBookie. No strings attached, cash bonus up to $200 when you use promo code FARZY. Right there at MyBookie. So check out MyBookie. Download to your phone right now and let the games begin, ladies and gentlemen. Have yourselves a good time. Let's get to the chat check and see how you wonderful people are doing on this fine, fine morning. Farzy Show, what's going on here? The Farzy Show YouTube channel. Guapo! One Guapo, what's going on? Sean Gillespie, what's going on? T-Bro, happy freaking Football Friday! I'm excited. Are you excited? I feel like I'm excited. Football, the real sport is back. What's good, fellas? Detroit was impressive. Jason A., Detroit was impressive. I tipped my cap to Detroit. By the way, what was Chauncey Gardner-Johnson saying on the sidelines? It was the first quarter. He made a play on Pacheco. Look familiar. And he goes over and he says something to the sidelines. He was ready to, I mean, I give him credit. Guy's ready to play. What's good, fellas? I see Detroit. Professor Dutch, top of the morning to you. Good for Detroit. Is it me or does Mahomes constantly smirk at nothing on the sidelines like he's listening to a mix of Farzy impersonations that no one else can hear? Why don't you throw the ball better? I know you don't have your guys, but anyway, don't put the quarter in the machine, Professor Dutch. Watch out for the poison ivy. Anyway, Mike Fuji, what's going on, Fuji? Happy Football Friday, EIGLES Eagles. Happy game day weekend. Hells yeah. Sean Kilray, what's going on? Love the fact that the Lions beat KC regardless of the score. Lions defense is going to be good. Yeah, they're going to be very good. I'm a big Aiden Hutchinson guy. And look, I know Chauncey Gardner-Johnson said some stupid stuff about Philadelphia, but as a football player, I still admire the guy. I think he's a hell of a football player. He's a good acquisition. He's a good acquisition. Always remember hungry dogs run faster. You're damn right, Sean Kilrain. Sean Gillespie, Lions, best record in the league. They're going to the Super Bowl. Mihai Sanchez, what's going on, Mihai? Morning all. I want an Eagles-Jags Super Bowl, the Peterson Bowl. Some of the defense inexperience scares me week one. NFL ain't scripted, right? Phillies need to bury the Marlins. Have a great weekend. That's Mihai, I always like how you have mic drop statements. But yes, Phillies need to take care of business against the Marlins. They start that 3-game series tonight. I mean, look, are the Eagles in the Super Bowl? Okay, then I'm in it. Whoever Peterson or not, storyline, beautiful, whatever, fine. But I don't care. I just want to make it to the Super Bowl. Yeah, I say just ring the bell, fly, Eagles, fly. Professor Dutch, nothing would be better for me in Philly sports vibes entering the Birds' first game than the Phillies sweeping the fence. Yeah. Even Topper is way more animated than Belichick, and that's hard to do. That's a great point. He is 1,000 times more animated. So happy for Sunday, says Jay Stay. John Cheeseborough! John Cheeseburger, you sandbagging SOB. How you been? Farzy, good morning, Farzy Society. I have returned. Welcome back. Football season, baby. April. Hello, April. IBH, what's going on? Hopefully an occasional blitz. Oh, you're going to get blitzing. Look, again, I got to clarify by saying it's not going to be Jim Johnson. It's not going to be Buddy Ryan. It's going to be – here's what you're going to see, I would say, a lot more. Maybe once a game, maybe more than what Jonathan Gann did. Middle linebacker, up the middle blitz. TJ Edwards, never. Couldn't do it. Not fast enough. Not quick enough. Nakobe Dean, fast enough, quick enough, instinctual enough. You're going to see it. John Cheesebro. Good Lord, you are coming back with vengeance. Bring on Sunday. I'm ready, says April. Absolutely. Easy Farzy, you snooze, you lose. I love the fact that we drafted Jerome Brown 2.0 and Professor Dutch. Professor Smith, excuse me. Yes, you're right, Sean Cullen. John Cheesebro, bring on Belichick. That mystique of New England is gone. They hadn't been right since Brady left. I concur. Also, Andy Reid got cute with his play calling and time management. Ghost came back to haunt Andy. Farzy, let's get some Gabe Kapler analysis for the Thursday opener.
Well, I just think they're going to be presenting beautifully against the Marlins.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you. Don't see, put the quarter in the impression machine. You put the quarter in the impression machine. All right, what's going on over here at the Jacob Media YouTube channel? What's going on? Go Phils, go Birds, says King Pooty TV. What's up? Luke B, what's going on? Luke B, losing your banner ceremony proves you didn't deserve the banner. Huh? Wildebeest Davenport, what's going on? Jonathan Gannon cost us the Super Bowl. I got you. Rob Thompson, it was Trotter? No. Are you talking about the fight? Rob Thompson, you're talking about the fight in Atlanta? Trotter got into the fight. Ike restarted the fight. I have way too many sources who were in the skirmish that told me exactly what happened. And admission by Ike Reese. Admission. He's talked about it. He danced. He went on the other side of the field. You don't go on the other side of the field. He went on the other side of the field. And, there's some problems there. And they're all still best friends. Everyone still loves each other. But, yes, Trotter was involved. Ike started it. That is a statement of fact. Unknown. Known unknown. I don't know. But nice to see you. Thanks, everybody. You guys are fantastic, as per usual. I'm really excited about this Philadelphia Eagles season. I know you're excited about this Philadelphia Eagles season. I'm so excited, in fact, that I'm about to go on Fox 29 and talk about it over there at Fox 29. And then I'm about to hop on at 9 o'clock with Jody McDonald for Birds 365 right here on the Jacob Media YouTube channel. So I'll be back with you guys at 9 o'clock today. Talk more Eagles. Paul Dalmowich, I know, will be joining the show. I think at 9:20. I think he's the 9:20 guest. Not sure. Anyway, be back with you guys then. Until then, have a great next 2 hours. And I'll be back with you guys. Jim Hyde, produced program, did a wonderful job. I'll also be on the Jacob Media YouTube channel tonight for Fightin's post-game show, recapping hopefully what will be a Game 1 victory for the Philadelphia Phillies over the Miami Marlins. See you guys then. Have a great day if I don't see you till Sunday when I'll be doing the game day pregame coverage with all the great people here at Jacob Media. See you guys then. Bye.
farzyshow.